Hello, and welcome back to the Burnt Pancakes podcast. I'm your host, Katie Fensky, and I'm reminding moms that everyone burns their first pancake. Now, today we're talking about something that doesn't get enough airtime, and that's navigating the holidays with tweens and teens. And let me tell you, it is very different from doing the holidays with little kids. Remember when the hardest part of the holidays was trying to just quietly sneak around like Santa without stepping on a toy that plays music? Or when the big meltdown came before your toddler missed their nap right as you walked into grandma's house? As exhausting as those years were, there was like this weird, comfortable, like feeling that you kind of knew what was going on and what to do. They were little kids. But now my kids are getting a little older. Ronan is a tween, and in about a year, he'll be a teenager. And parenting a tween or teen during the holidays is just feeling like we're entering like this whole nother world of motherhood that I'm trying to figure out. There's no more like follow the schedule and pack the diaper bag. Now it's navigating moods and social stress and attitudes and changing boundaries and figuring out how to stay connected without pushing too hard. And I'll be honest, there are moments when I catch myself thinking, okay, can we just go back to when they were little and babies and all we had to do was worry about hiding the presents? So, the reason I bring this up is because I am so grateful to the ladies at CultivaTeen Roots, who you might remember from a past podcast episode. I had them on about 2 months ago, maybe. And they recently released an incredible resource called Holiday Harmony, a parent quick guide for the teen years. And it breaks down simple connection focused strategies to help us connect with our big kids through the chaos of the season and shed a light on how they might be feeling through all of this. I love their approach so much that I wanted to bring some of their big takeaways here today with full credit to the brilliant women who created it. So, we're going to talk about why the holidays can feel especially intense for teens and tweens and walk through their strategies that they recommend. Plus, I'm going to fill in some of my own stories as well. So, before I jump in, I want to give this guide out to you. So, the Cultivating Teens program, I'm going to link it below in the show notes. So, if you want to take a look at what they offer and look at the guide that they created, make sure to check that out below. All right, let's jump in. So, their first strategy was give your teen or tween room to breathe. So, let's start with something that every parent or of a teen or tween has seen firsthand, and that is just overwhelm. And holiday seasons, especially, can mean more people, more noise, more events on the calendar, and just way more expectations that we're putting on them. And while that can be exciting and fun, it could also feel like a lot, especially for kids who struggle with maybe social anxiety, new self-esteem issues, or just don't love being on socially for long stretches of time. One of the best things we can do to help our teens carve out some space when they need it is not just letting them disappear for the whole holiday season, but giving them tools to communicate when things start to feel a little too intense. So, here are a few ways that you can make this happen. You can create a cue or a signal together. This can be a word, a hand gesture, or whatever works for you. Something that they can use to quietly let you know, hey, I'm like maxed out here. That way you can step in with support without making like a big scene. Another strategy is to plan an exit strategy ahead of time. Maybe it's stepping outside for a walk or taking a break in a quiet room or leaving an event earlier than like the end time. When you know there's a respectful way to tap out, they don't have to suffer through feeling like really awkward or rude for needing that little break. Another thing we can do is involve them in the planning. So before you RSVP for the 10th holiday gathering, ask them how they feel about it. Get their input on what they can realistically handle. It shows that their voice matters and it helps avoid resentment or last minute meltdowns. Now, you might even be surprised at some of the things that they are like super into. So I know we've had a lot of like holiday traditions um, as my kids have gotten older and gone through the holidays, but maybe asking them like, hey, we usually do XYZ, like, the Christmas train, walking around looking at lights, and ask them like, what do you want to do again this year? And you might actually be surprised that they're like, hey, yeah, remember that time we picked up hot chocolate and just drove around the neighborhoods? Let's do that again. Like they might still want to partake in the things that were traditions when they were younger. Now, why does it help using these strategies? It just sends a powerful message that you see their need and respect their experiences. You understand that they're getting a little bit older and their needs are different, but you're willing to work together with it. It builds their confidence in knowing how to communicate their discomfort, and it teaches them how to advocate for themselves in a very healthy way. Plus, supporting them in this way lowers their stress for everyone, including you, the parent. Now, the second strategy that they came up with was to lay out expectations before you even walk out the door. And this is something you used with your toddlers, with your little kids, but it's a good tool for teens and tweens as well. So, if there's one thing that can turn a holiday outing into a full on meltdown for you or your teen, it's just those unspoken expectations. Teens aren't mind readers, even though sometimes we wish they were. And honestly, we, the parents, were not either. A lot of conflict happens simply because nobody said what they were expecting or wanted up front. So, heading into the holiday gathering, it helps to spell out really clearly what's happening. This isn't about being rigid. It's about giving them a roadmap so they know exactly what to expect and what's expected of them. So, here are some simple frames. Start with a plan, something like, here's what we're doing today. Give them the basics of where you're going, what the event is, and what time you're planning on heading out. Now, before we took our Christmas pictures this year, we explained to Ronan why the pictures were important to us. We explained that every year since he was born, we have a family picture together and we put it on our Christmas card usually. And we just love seeing like how we've all changed. I don't know if I love seeing how I've changed that much, but like it's so fun to see year to year how the kids have grown and how our family has grown. So he might feel awkward taking that picture, but these pictures are really important for us to have. Now, we have let him do his hair. Like this year, I was like, okay, we're going to take pictures soon. Please go do your hair. And did it turn out the way I thought he should do it? No. But I knew that I'm asking him to do something important. So I want him to feel comfortable. I also like worked with him on picking out an outfit. I know he did not want to wear anything other than sweatpants, but I reminded him again, like, hey, this is a nice picture that we're sending out to your grandmas. They're going to really want to see a picture of all of us. Let's just for a little bit dress up. And the minute we get home, you can change. We also explained to him how he could make things go faster. So our photographer is my very best friend, so they're very comfortable with her. But I kind of explained like it's really hard for her to get these pictures when we don't all work together and just listen to what she's saying. So the faster we can get them done, the faster we're like done with the pictures. So kind of explaining like this is what she's asking us to do. Let's just do it right off. Another strategy is just share what's important to your family. So this might be, here's what's important to us. Maybe it's like greeting, we call their grandma Oma. When she comes over Thanksgiving, open the door and ask her if she needs any help with that. Or say hi to her when she walks in the door. We had Thanksgiving in our house this year. And I wanted them to sit at the table. So I said, we're all going to sit at the table and eat together. While we're hanging out before dinner, I don't want you guys watching TV or playing games. It'd be nice if you could ask Oma Mike, my uncle, like, how is he doing? Or talk to him, tell him what you're up to. So like try to engage before we all settle down afterwards, after the dinner. But it's just, how do we be respectful to the host? Those kind of things. I also, with Ronan this year, just talking about why the things are important. I asked him to be in the Santa picture that we took with the boys. So this is the first year he does not believe in Santa anymore. And I still wanted him to be part of that picture, even though he's like, Mom, like, why do I have to do this picture? So I told him it's really important to me that the boys, the other two, Jet and Maverick, who still totally believe in Santa, that they still believe. And why by you being in it, it helps them to like keep on with the tradition. So I know it's awkward for you to be in the Santa picture, but just be a good sport and get through it. And then afterwards, we did something fun that he enjoyed. So we always take the kids to Barnes and Noble afterwards because we go to like if you're in Southern California, we go to Fashion Island and they have a big shopping area. And one of their favorite things to do is go to the Barnes and Noble there and look at the toys and the gifts. And then we get hot chocolate afterwards. So if you can get through this part, that's really important to me, then we'll go do something fun afterwards. Another thing is let them know that they do have choices. Teens love having control, and you can do things like say to them, here's where you have flexibility, whether that's choosing who they sit with at, Christmas dinner, or bringing something for downtime, or deciding how involved they want to be in certain activities. So again, for the family pictures or parties, we let them coordinate when we're choosing their outfits. So Ronan is definitely more self-conscious right now about the clothes he's wearing. He's very comfortable in his baggy pants, sweatpants. So like I explained to him like, hey, it's important to me. We're hanging out with family and they're looking forward to seeing you. I want you to wear something that you're comfortable in, but something that also it kind of looks nice. He surprised me this year for Thanksgiving, came out with a nice pair of jeans, which he hates, and a button-up shirt, which I know he didn't feel very comfortable wearing because that's not something he wears every day. But I think because I told him like, hey, we've got family coming and we're trying to make this like a really like nice dinner. Could you put on something? I mean, the shirt was wrinkled, there were stains on it. But the fact that that's what he chose to wear, I, complimented him very much that day. It also helps to clarify some specifics. So if you are heading to like a family party or an event, let them know who's going so they can prepare for the social side of things. What behavior is non-negotiable? So respectful language, no disappearing without checking in, that kind of thing. So like I am ashamed to admit this, but some of the words coming out of Ronan's mouth right now, not okay. So I reminded him, hey, we're going to be with Oma Mike and we're going to be with Oma today. I don't want to hear these words. Okay. I want to hear respectful language. My boys are super into farting on people and all that stuff. And I just said, hey, while we're at dinner, we're not going to burp at the dinner table. And I don't want to hear you talking about farts for this time period while they're here. It's also helpful for them to know what's in their control. So, like I said before, picking out their outfit, what they choose to do in the downtime during an event, or a task they're responsible for. So, we're about to head up to my family Christmas, which is out of town. We drive like 5 hours, 4 hours to get there. And it's a big Christmas party. It's always the week before Christmas, the weekend before. So my aunts and uncles, all of my cousins, I've got a ton of them, and then a lot of second cousins. And my kids only see this side of the family just because it's such a big extended family out of town. They usually only see them around Christmas time. So they're second cousins, even though they're very close in age and they have a great time hanging out with them. It takes them a little while to warm up because they haven't seen each other in a year, especially as they get older. It's more like getting a little awkward. So I know for Ronan, it's going to take him a little longer to kind of warm up and just let him know, like, hey, remember last year you hung out with Jace and you hung out with Grace. You had a really good time. They will probably be here again. Maybe taking a minute to like introduce them again. Give him a task like, hey, will you go bring the food to the table and put it on there just so he kind of like breaks the ice a little bit before, because I know going in, he's going to be like, Mom, why don't you talk to them first? That kind of thing. So a way for them to break the ice or give them a task that they can kind of just like do as they get settled somewhere. Okay. And then also giving them time boundaries. So let them know what time you're planning on leaving a house and approximately how long you plan to stay. Because Teens do so much better when they can anticipate the length of a commitment. Now, why all of this works? When teens know the plan ahead of time, they walk into events with clarity instead of anxiety or frustration. Setting expectations early gives them a sense of security and helps them feel a little more comfortable walking into somewhere, which means fewer arguments and just a smoother day for everyone. Okay, moving on to tip number 3, help them manage sensory overload before it hits. So, the holidays come with a whole buffet of potential stressors for teens. There's crowded rooms, loud conversations, unfamiliar foods, and just a revolving door of relatives that maybe they're not as comfortable or familiar with, asking them questions they don't always feel like answering. So, for some kids, especially those who are more sensitive to sensory input, it can really push them into overload pretty quickly. So instead of waiting for a shutdown or a blow up, we can set them up with tools to help regulate themselves before things get too overwhelming. So here are a few supports that can make a big difference. Um, you can give them noise canceling headphones. Now, I wouldn't say for like in the middle of an event when they're trying to talk to people, but maybe on the car ride there or the car ride home, maybe during transitions, or if you give them a few minutes to step away for a little bit, just a time where they don't have to be overloaded. Some kids do well with fidgets or like grounding tools. So something that's discreet that they can keep in their pocket to help them just kind of release some tension. Maybe give them scheduled breaks. So building in pauses that can give them a chance to just like reconnect and re-enter the festivities when things are like calmer and they've had time to decompress. Strategic seating. So, sitting at a table that maybe you're at the end or the end of the row. So, it gives them like an easier exit, or sitting with someone that they feel comfortable with. If you know, like dinner's starting, hey, come sit next to me. Giving them simple choices that help them remain in control. So, asking them, do you want to step outside or do you want to stay inside? Or, hey, should we go for a 5-minute walk? Or do you want to just like quickly walk for a little bit? That just gives them a little more autonomy without overwhelming them. Now, why do all of those help? Well, you're teaching them real life coping strategies while also letting them know that their comfort matters. These tools build independence, support, emotional regulation, and make the holiday gatherings feel far more manageable for them and for you. Okay, tip number 4 is remembering that their reactions aren't about you. And this is something that I actually need to hear. It is so important. And honestly, it's such a good reminder for all parents of teens. When your child rolls their eyes or shuts the door a little too hard or tosses out a snarky comment, it can feel like a direct hit. But most of the time, it's not actually about you. Teens are navigating big emotions, shifting hormones, social pressures, sensory overload, and so many changes they can't always articulate. Their reactions are usually a sign that something inside of them feels overwhelming, not that they're intentionally trying to disrespect or upset you. So instead of meeting their intensity with more intensity, which is what I usually do, it's very tempting. Try responding in a way that feels calm and doesn't escalate the situation. So here's some responses that they suggest you say. It seems like this is a lot for you right now. Or do you want some space or do you need support? Or why don't we hit a pause for a minute? These simple phrases show your teen that you're not taking the behavior as an attack, you're seeing the emotions underneath it. And that opens the door to connection instead of just confrontation, just confronting them right there. This helps because it's about co regulation, helping your team calm their nervous system by calming yourself. When you regulate first, they can follow your lead. It builds trust, it reduces conflict, and it teaches them how to handle emotions, like those emotional moments in a healthier way. So, this is probably the biggest thing I am going to take away from this one is just not taking things personally and responding in a calmer way so it doesn't escalate things. Especially with my little Ronan who has had quite an attitude lately. All right. Number 5 is pick one thing that makes the holidays feel good for them. So, this strategy is such a simple tweak, but it can change the entire vibe of the season. Instead of guessing what your teen or tween wants or assuming they're just along for the ride, ask them directly what would make the holiday enjoyable for them. Not a whole list of things, not a complicated plan, just what's one thing this holiday season you would like to do? You can just say, like, what's one thing that would make the holiday feel good for you? Their answers actually might surprise you. They might bring up something that you've done in the past, like, oh, can we go back to that place where Santa is? There's a koi pond there where we usually go to see the fish and go to Barnes and Noble. Or they might say, like I said earlier, hey, remember that time we went and got hot chocolate and walked that one street that has all the lights? Let's do that again. So they might actually come up with something that you had on the list that they still enjoy as well. They might come up with a favorite meal that they look forward to every year. They might ask for just a quiet moment of maybe not doing anything one day. Or, hey, let's just watch that holiday movie. And then you should suggest, let's watch it together because I can tell you the other day we did like a family movie. A lot of times we let our boys watch in their like playroom. They watch something out there while we watch something at night. But we decided one Sunday, like, let's all do a movie together in the living room. And it actually was really enjoyable. It was fun to just be together. I had to force Ronan because he kept saying, I'm just going to watch something in the other room. I'm going to go. And I'm like, nope, we're watching this together. I know you want some space, but this is fun for the whole family. So it was a really enjoyable thing. Um, Maybe they'll suggest extra time with their friends. So I am starting to notice that Ronan is kind of wanting more outside of school time with his friends. Over Thanksgiving break, he said to me, oh, Mom, during break, I'm going to meet up with my friends at this trampoline park. And I was kind of caught off guard, like, oh, you are? Like, that is not something that I had planned. How are you going to get there? Like, when is this happening? But it just kind of reminded me, like he and his friends had been like messaging about, hey, let's get together. It just reminded me that his desire to be with his friends and maybe not so much with his brothers and his family is important to this phase that he's in, this stage. It's part of wanting to be more independent. So maybe scheduling some time where you can say, hey, we don't have a family event happening this week. Why don't you see if some of your friends are available? Um, Another thing that you can see is uh, no pressure situations. So, no pressure to take posed family photos. So, I've started to notice like in family photos when we're like taking a picture together, Ronan just does this awkward smile and it's like not his normal smile. It's like when he's smiling for a picture, it's like a forced like or like a closed mouth. It just looks awkward. But right now it's like, okay, that's the face he makes when he's making a picture. And we're going to look back in years and be like, "Oh, remember awkward tween years? Those were fun." But just not like hounding him like, "Come on, Ronan, make a better face." Just okay, smile. And also just building in some downtime during those busy days. So making sure that it's not all jam-packed with stuff. And that can actually feel good for the parents too. The holidays do not need to be jam-packed with stuff. So, when you let them choose something that's meaningful to them, you give them a sense of ownership in the holiday experience. It shows them that their preferences matter and that the season isn't about obligations or we have to do this every year. It's just about what makes the season enjoyable for everyone. Now, this works because when kids feel seen and included in the planning, they're so much more willing to participate in everything else that comes with the holidays. It boosts cooperation, reduces pushback, and it helps everyone move through the season with more ease and harmony. So, those were the 5 tips, but now here are some bonus things. These are easy conversation starters for the ride home from an event. So, the drive home from the holiday gatherings is actually one of the best times to connect with your teen or tween. The event is still fresh in their mind. You're both out of your chaos, like we're out of the home that we were in. And there's something about talking side by side in the car that feels less intense than like a face-to-face conversation. This isn't the moment for lecturing or rehashing what went wrong during an event. It's just kind of like a gentle reflection. So you can try some simple open-ended questions like, "Hey, what part did you enjoy tonight?" Or was there anything that felt challenging? Or is there anything we should tweak or rethink next time? Or was there a moment you felt proud of yourself or how you handled yourself at this event? The goal here isn't correction, it's about connection. These questions open the door for honest conversations, build emotional awareness, and help you both plan for smoother, more enjoyable gatherings in the future. Okay, that is a wrap of today's episode. I hope these strategies help you head into the holiday seasons feeling a little more prepared, a little more grounded, and a little more connected to your tween or teen. Parenting through the holiday season isn't always easy, but small shifts like these can make a very big difference for you and for them. Now, I want to give a huge shout out again to the incredible women behind Cultivating Roots for putting together this holiday guide that inspired this episode. They are doing such important work supporting families through the ups and downs of adolescence. If you want to dive deeper into understanding your teen and building a stronger relationship with them, definitely check out their course, Making Adolescence. It's packed with tools, insights, and practical strategies that every parent of a teen or tween can benefit from. I'll make sure to link it in the show notes so you can explore their resources and learn more. Thanks for spending time with me today. I am wishing you a very peaceful, joy-filled, meltdown minimized holiday season. And until next week's Momversation, I want to remind you that everyone burns their first pancake, so just keep flipping.